Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Katie Sassine Show. Happy May 1st. This is Trump's 101st day in office. So as you know, yesterday he went and spoke to Pennsylvania on his first 100 days and said there's no place he would rather be than the patriotic state of Pennsylvania. And on the 99th day, he was in none other than the city of Atlanta, Georgia, my home, and happy to say that is my home. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in to the Katie Sassine Show. You've probably already seen Trump's 101st days covered on a few other networks. So I, of course, will talk a little bit about that. But first, we're going to start out by checking out a video of something good, because through the media, we've seen a lot of bad about Mr. Donald Trump. We've seen his low approval rating in comparison to the last few presidents that we've had. And we've seen that from the very beginning. We knew this was coming. So before we get to what someone like Bernie Sanders had to say about Trump, about his first 100 days, let's look at the good, and we'll start out by checking out Mr. Martin Savage, who traveled to red states to speak with Trump voters, and we'll hear a couple voters in Iowa that gave Trump some positive feedback, so let's check it out.
In Des Moines, Iowa, I find another surprise. Named Alberto Alejandre, a 32-year-old public school teacher who teaches Spanish to inner-city kids.
Who did you vote for this go-around?
I voted for Trump.
Born in Mexico, he became an American through an amnesty program in the 80s. Yet, voted for a president who has called Mexicans criminals and threatens mass deportations.
Here we are 100 days after he was sworn in, and he has not acted against innocent, undocumented workers.
Some would disagree, but what's certain is that Alberto feels good about the administration so far, including on immigration.
Being in America, to begin with, isn't a right. It's a great privilege.
Madison County, Iowa, famous for its bridges and home to a man many feel personifies America, John Wayne. Brian Downs knew the Duke and found similar qualities in the Donald when he met Trump at a campaign event.
Meeting him, yes, that made a huge difference. Yeah, made a huge difference. Just because it's somebody who, he really felt like one of us. I had that feeling.
The big campaign issue for Brian was the same as Alberto.
Borders, immigration, and I think that national security is all part of that.
And like Alberto, Brian is pleased by Trump so far.
I think he's doing great.
And he also admits that Trump's had to deal with a bit of a learning curve.
And he has as much as admitted, I didn't know it was going to be this complicated.
From the birthplace of John Wayne,
Welcome back to the Katie Sassine Show. So as you can see, two very distinct voters, a younger Spanish teacher, Alberto, who's familiar with being a, well, immigrated American, at least by family, and then an older white male who's from Madison, Iowa, both citizens of Iowa. And Alberto noted that Trump has not acted against undocumented workers. Being in America is a privilege, not a right, he also said, which I find is important to note, that someone who has been through the immigration process or who has had family, immediate family who's had to go through the process and understands that. I think that's very important to note, because we see in the media a lot of stuff about how Trump does not appeal to foreign people in the United States, not even foreign people, but immigrants in the United States, first generation, second generation immigrants, that he's discriminatory. But if that were the case, then why aren't immigrants themselves and families and immediate family members of immigrants themselves saying the same thing? So it's very interesting. We have that contradiction, and we'll continue to see that. So, and also Brian Downs, who was the second man featured, that was in Madison, Iowa, he expressed that he was very pleased with Trump and all the trouble that Trump has had to go through the media, et cetera, and that people just need to take it easy on him. So those were two very positive interviews. Again, that was by CNN's Savage, and he went around to red states to ask them how they felt about Trump's 100 days. That was on Trump's 100 days. So in addition, not only is he getting good reviews from people that voted for him from the beginning, he's also got a great unemployment rate. As we can see right up here, it's 4.5. nearly half of what it was during the Obama administration, and about the same during the Bush, and it was 7% during the Clinton administration. So we have a good unemployment rate, and I haven't been seeing much about that in the news, but nonetheless it's still there, in despite of his low approval rating. And also, we know that Trump had made a lot of promises in his campaigning, and the biggest of all was making America great again and putting America first. Because during the Obama administration, we had put the international community first. We had put the international institution, the United Nations, before that of the United States of America. So it was really a shift in the balance of power. As you can probably tell, U.S. is supposed to be the hegemony. It's supposed to be the world leader. But when Obama came into office and he put the international institution, the United Nations, above that of the law of the United States, he had compromised much of what makes America America. And just as proof that Trump is literally putting America first, this is a quote from Business Insider. It says, while Clinton made one international trip in his first 100 days, George W. Bush made 2, Obama jet set to 9 countries. Trump, on the other hand, has yet to travel anywhere outside the United States. He has a NATO meeting planned in Brussels in May, says Business Insider. So he'll be in Belgium in May, and that will be his first trip, political trip out of the United States, maybe first trip altogether out of the United States. That's what it seems to be. So he's literally putting America first here. He is staying here. He's going and making his rounds to wherever he can here, to energy industries, we know specifically, and he's doing a great job. Now, why are we seeing so much negative feedback in the media? We're just still seeing the trend that's been going on since day one. Will it let up? Well, if CNN and other networks continue to put out stories talking to people that support Trump, maybe it'll get the word out that there are actually people that are satisfied with Trump in spite of what the media says, and that other Americans should try to support their POTUS as well. So, also remember, if you want to tag the president in anything on Facebook or Twitter so that other people can see what you said, just hashtag POTUS, POTUS, and you can get your message out there much easier. So, on day 99, as I said in the very beginning of the episode, Trump was in none other than the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia, and that was on Friday, on April 28th. He attended the National Rifle Association, the NRA convention in Atlanta, as his 99th day as president, and he gave a very great 100-day speech. Now, when he arrived in Atlanta, the traffic came to a dramatic halt for 3 hours after his Air Force One arrived, and the first sitting president to attend this NRA convention is Mr. President Donald Trump, since Ronald Reagan in the 80s, in 1983. So that's really saying something here. The fact alone that Trump was at the NRA convention is a huge step for a president of the United States. Even though we've had George W. Bush, we've had George H.W. Bush in office since Ronald Reagan, neither of them have gone to an NRA convention and given a speech. So what do I think about this? Just the fact alone that he went to the NRA convention is excellent. This shows how much he values the Bill of Rights and the recently threatened Second Amendment, and the recently threatened Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So we know that the last 8 years, our president did not support the right to bear arms. There were several gun attacks, and all we heard was the threat that arms pose to everyone in the United States, the threat that the right to bear arms pose to everyone in the United States. And I don't know about you, but to me, it felt like a threat to my security. The fact that the government was thinking about taking guns out of the hands of its people felt like a threat to my security. Although they were trying to do it systematically in measures, it just, it doesn't seem right to rescind one of the Bill of Rights. It just doesn't seem right. Those are our Bill of Rights, those are inalienable rights, and what makes the United States unique is that we are given our freedom by God and not by the government, which means it cannot be taken away. Our inalienable rights are inherently ours by by God. And that's what makes the U.S. unique. So the fact that Trump supports that is a huge deal. And even if you're a Democrat, you could still side with this. I mean, this is your Bill of Rights. These Bill of Rights were put in place to secure your life. Now we'll go on to talk. There was a sheriff that spoke, a very notable sheriff that spoke at the NRA convention, who noted that taking away our right to bear arms is comparable to the way that slaves were treated in America and how they were prohibited to bear arms when they first gained freedom in the United States of America. And he said that it's appalling how our citizens of the United States are being treated like we had treated slaves in the past. And that, just to boot, is a black male that said that. And his name is Mr. Sheriff David Clark. So we'll go over what Mr. Clark had to say in just a few. So further, Trump also pledged cooperation of his administration in the NRA, another huge step. And afterward, he attended a fundraiser for Karen Handel, Georgia's 6th congressional district candidate. And she will be facing Jon Ossoff in the runoff election on June 20th. As we know, Ossoff almost tipped the scale and got 51%, but was unable to. Thankfully, the Republicans have a chance to keep the 6th district Republican, to remain Republican so that the district doesn't flip. We've all heard about the movement Flip the 6th, probably. You've seen it. Hashtag Georgia 6, hashtag Flip the 6th. Mr. Trump, we went over tweets about this last week. I believe it was last Monday. Has expressed support for the Republican candidate in this race, as there has been DNC, Democratic National Committee intervention in this election. And we've all known about that, if you've been following the race especially. So he made it clear to comment on that at the very beginning of his speech. And he also commented on MS-13 and talked about what a bad group that is. He said, let's get him the hell out of here. And if you didn't know, MS-13 is an international criminal gang from LA, California, and they are huge. So we've got to cut to a break here in a couple minutes. But when we return, we're going to go over Trump's speech intro at the NRA convention in Atlanta, Georgia. He discussed Handel. He discussed more about Karen Handel specifically. He discussed his presidential election win. And then he gets into his first 100 days speech, accomplishments in his first 100 days, given by none other than your very own President Donald J. Trump. So we'll be right back on the Katie Sassine Show with that. Please, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at KatieFYNTV right below us here. And you can email me with questions, comments, suggestions at katie@fetchernews.com. Remember, you can purchase merchandise always at fetchernews.com. We've got lovely mugs with our name on them, so you never forget where we're at, and t-shirts, and also some articles posted. So check us out, and we'll be right back with you.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. The Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East Ellijay, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Katie Sassine, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. So it's Trump's 101st day as President of the United States. Congratulations to Mr. Trump. And we were just going over his National Rifle Association convention speech. And here we go. He started out with a speech introduction where he talked about Karen Handel, who's running for 6th Congressional District of Georgia for Congress. So Trump congratulated Karen Handel. He's very overtly supportive of her and the 6th District of Georgia remaining Republican. And he said, let's not have, he made a funny comment on the race and said, let's not have 11 Republicans run for the same position again. So the race was a nationally covered congressional district race. The special election took place a couple of months ago, well, on April 18th. And it was such a huge deal because it's a very, decisive district of Georgia. Whoever gets the seat of the 6th district will likely be in the White House, as we saw with Tom Price and Newt Gingrich, that were formerly the congressional representatives of this same exact district. So the people who represent this district have a history of success. And for there to be a Democratic candidate in the seat would be a huge flip for the district, as they have not had a Democratic candidate for quite some time. So this was going to be a huge deal, hence all of the candidates that ran in the race to get the experience and to get the coverage for themselves as politicians, etc. It was a good race to be in if you were trying to get some kind of coverage. So Handel is for the Second Amendment. As you know, he was at the NRA convention, and he expressed that the Trump administration would be working with the NRA closely and looking out for our Second Amendment and is in full support of our Second Amendment. And he went on to confirm that Handel is for the Second Amendment as well, blah, 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 as a Republican candidate. John Ossoff, on the other hand, is for open borders. And even to boot, he is not even allowed to vote in his own district. And Trump did mention this himself, even though I've already been aware of this with BKP and I and Sam following the 6th district election in Georgia. And last but not least, Trump encouraged people to get out and vote for Handel. So make sure you go and do that. And if you have any doubt in your mind who you should vote for, if you are in that 6th district, Johns Creek, Sandy Springs, Milton, etc., etc., a very great district to be in, please get out and vote and preserve your freedom to bear arms and your right to bear arms, and show that you care about that. So the presidential election win, Trump went on to bathe and bask in his presidential win back in November. He talked about the success and excitement of his win that very night when everyone stayed up late and awaited the results, and the excitement of that night and how great it was and what a landslide win it was. And he said that Republicans have a serious disadvantage in the Electoral College. And he went on to say to the people, as he ran as many say as a populist candidate, not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, but as a candidate for the people, a candidate based on popularity, a populist candidate. He said to the people at the NRA convention, you came through for me, and I am going to come through for you. So, I like that. I like that he said that. I like how he's straightforward, and I've liked that from the very beginning. So, just more of the Trump that we know and voted for and love, if you did vote for him. If not, well, all we are saying is give Trump a chance. So after his introduction, where he mentioned Karen Handel and he mentioned his presidential election win, he went into a speech about his first 100 days. And of course, he was in Pennsylvania on his 100th day, but I feel like this was the real 100 days speech given in, Atlanta, Georgia, and that's great to me to know that he gave us that speech here in the state of Georgia, because we are very supportive of Mr. Trump here, and especially FYN TV and local networks around here have shown support for him immensely. So the fact that he was here giving that speech just means a lot. In Pennsylvania, he was there on his 100th day, yes, of course, but he actually blasted the mass media. And he didn't really do that so much at the NRA speech. He talked about his accomplishments. It was more of a 100-day speech, whereas in Pennsylvania, he talked to the media. And we can get into that later. He said some very interesting points. And so, Trump's accomplishments, noted by himself at the NRA convention, he's gotten Neil Gorsuch appointed as Supreme Court Justice. Neil Gorsuch, he is very adherent to the Constitution of the United States of America. And this, of course, is fundamental to conventions and associations such as the NRA, and to Republicans, conservatives, libertarians most likely. And as a person that is adherent to the Constitution, will serve and protect your Bill of Rights. So Trump promised to appoint a justice adherent to the United States Constitution, and that's what he did. So, check. Ding, ding. One accomplishment for Trump right there. You won't find that in your CNN article. Well, you might see it in the CNN article, but they won't make it look like a good thing. They'll make you think it's a bad thing or something backwards. But in all reality, this is a good step for America. We needed another constitutionalist kind of justice in the Supreme Court after the recent passing of Antonin Scalia, who was appointed by Ronald Reagan. We needed someone to fill those shoes of Antonin Scalia. It couldn't be just anyone. So Neil Gorsuch was the man for the job, and thanks to President Donald Trump, he's the man we got for the job. And that's a great thing. And in addition, Jeff Sessions appointed as Attorney General. And Trump assures that Sessions is enforcing immigration laws in every state. So for Trump voters, such as who we saw on CNN at the very beginning of the show this morning, Mr. Alberto from Des Moines, Iowa, Jeff Sessions is working toward enforcing immigration laws in every state. So don't be discouraged. And in addition, he's appointed John Kelly as Homeland Security Director. And John Kelly seeks to protect borders and remove illegal aliens, which would include the MS-13 and International Criminal Gang from LA, California. So as we can see, he is working toward those goals by the people that he appoints, by the things that he says, and by what he does. In addition, since Trump's election, there has been a whopping 73% decrease in illegal immigration on the southern border. Trump says, he comments on the wall at the NRA speech after he states that there's been a 73% decrease in illegal immigration. I can't talk today. He says, we need a wall. We will build a wall. And then reiterates, we need a wall. He says, we're going to get that wall. And what will the enforcement method be for this? He also gets into the enforcement method. Trump says that violators of illegal immigration will be sent back home. On their first offense, they'll be sent back to where they came from. But in later offenses, in order to enforce the system, Violators will be arrested, prosecuted, and then locked up. Trump went on to say, immigration security is national security. It is time to put America first. That prompted people in the audience at the convention to chant USA, USA, directly after he said that. So if you haven't seen the speech, I highly recommend it. I'm just going over the brief highlights and with my, of course, commentary here as usual. So back to what he said, immigration security is national security. That's something that the liberal community has been attacking since day one for his immigration policies and for his beliefs on immigration and enforcement to lower illegal immigration and immigration altogether. He has been attacked by the left media. He has been called a racist. He has been called everything under the sun. And the term nationalist has even been degraded as something imaginary, as something discriminatory, when in reality, it's having pride in one's own country. Nationalism does not imply hate, but the left has tried to twist the term to make it seem like it's a hateful term, when in actuality, it is something that's needed to protect one's own state. And the United States is the most powerful country in the world. The United States needs to protect itself more than any other country in the world. And by way of protecting ourselves and our national security, and through whatever means we have to do that, be it immigration policy, be it building a wall, we've got to do that in order to preserve the current balance of power that we have in the world. Because we are that leading state. We are that hegemony. So again, MAGA, hashtag Make America Great Again, was definitely the topic of this NRA convention speech, true to what Trump said 100 days ago and what Trump said 100 days before that and 100 days before that. Why the 100-day mark? Well, we can thank FDR for that, Franklin Delano Roosevelt for creating this measure of presidential success. So the next topic of the speech is freedom. Trump went on to say that freedom is not a gift from the government, it is a gift from God. And again, that divine right to freedom is what makes being an American so special and so unique to other countries in the world that give their people freedom from the government. And as you and I know, as Republicans, most likely, or even if you're not, as people, if your government gives you something, then they can take it away. So that's the whole issue with the socialization of healthcare in this country. We don't want to be given our healthcare by the government. We don't want to all pay a flat rate for everyone to have the same exact coverage at the same exact level of quality of care. That's not what the American people want. Because if the government can give us that and be in control of all of that, and we're paying the government to do that, then in the same instance, they can take it all away. Versus going to a private company for these payments and these private insurance companies that operate on a statewide basis, more locally, that are more personalized, that really cater to individual needs instead of just meshing everyone into one mixed up group that is just making everything really a big mess. I've dealt with socialized healthcare. It's terrible. I know someone, I have friends that deal with socialized healthcare. They can't stand it. Why would we want to devolve? Why would we want to devolve? We should be evolving. And part of our evolution is understanding that the less the government has the power to give us, then the more they have the power to take it away. Or the better off we are, the more free that we are. I guess you get the gist of it. So anyway, we have to close up this episode for today. We're going to get back to the Katie Sassine Show and talk about what Mr. Trump had to say about freedom at the NRA convention in Atlanta, Georgia. Please check out our website, fetchyournews.com, for merchandise, articles, local news, and remember to subscribe on Twitter at KatieFYNTV. You can add our Facebook page, Fetch Your News, and like our posts, and we'll keep you updated on a daily basis. So Please stay tuned in. Remember, you can watch the Katie Sassine Show Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. on fyntv.com.